I said to myself underwater, I said, oh my God, I'm getting ready to die.
Death was close. People were drowning.
I got one more. Going to the dock. We have to get her up there.
To the dock?
We have to get her to the dock. I need backboards in. No, we ain't got none. We've used them all. All right.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a river. And as I was floating down the river, I looked to my left and I saw my uncle. And I called out to him and I said, Uncle Bubba, I said, grab my hand. He grabbed my hand, but he also grabbed me right here. And he kept pulling me and pulling me and pulling me under the water.
The crushing decision she had to make. It was a matter of survival.
I wonder, honestly, if this case would have gotten more attention if it were all elderly white people.
I keep saying, please God, wake me up from this bad dream that I'm having. But in reality, it's not a dream, it's real.
We are devastated.
What happened during a visit to Sapelo Island, the one-of-a-kind Black experience that turned a day excursion into a watery grave. Now on Black Land.
And now,
as a brown person, you just feel so invisible.
Where we're from.
Brothers and sisters, I welcome you to this joyful day.
We celebrate freedom. Where we are.
Get on the ground!
I know someone heard something.
And where we're going.
We the people means all the people.
The Black Information Network presents Black Land with your host, Vanessa Tyler.
I'm attorney Ben Crump, and along with attorney Jeff Goodman from Slots Law Firm, who is a recognized expert in the field dealing with bridge collapses and collapsed buildings all across America and the world. I think it's safe to say the Sachs Law Firm is probably the #1 firm that people call when they want to understand the intricacy in the details of what really happened.
The scene beyond catastrophic. 7 people died. People who made it this far in life. 75, 77, 79, 93. The youngest, 73. The ages of those who would never think their lives would end this way. Sinking in the ocean off Sapelo Island. Nothing can be so raw, so awful.
It gets emotional because I'm remembering talking to so many of them about what happened when the Sapelo Island Gangway dock collapsed and how they were in the water and they thought that this was the end for them and how they struggled to just try to get a breath and how loved ones who they tried desperately to save could not be saved. And that's what this is about.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump is all over this one, angry because what happened October 19th, 2024 didn't have to happen.
But the biggest thing while we're filing this multi-million-dollar lawsuit is because this tragedy was totally preventable. Let me say that again. These 7 people did not have to die on the Sapelo Island Gangway dock. If people would have put safety over money. That's what this is about.
Elderly day visitors to historic Sapelo Island crossing a plank with their canes, walkers, wheelchairs. Reportedly, there was as many as 40 people crossing the aluminum plank leading to the ferry to leave the island when it gave way, dumping about half of them in the Atlantic.
Roll her back onto the blanket. All right, Gina, we're going to roll you. Okay, I know she's hurting.
It's my understanding that the structure collapsed in the middle. One end of the gangway is in the water. One end of the gangway on the landward side is still attached. I can't tell you exactly at this point in time what happened.
Good morning. My name is Regina Brinson. First of all, I just would like to thank God, number one, for being here and being able to stand here today.
It is a miracle, but God had other plans as she, her elderly uncle, and Miss Carlotta, who was making her way on her walker, started to cross.
And my uncle was assisting me with Miss Carlotta. I was holding on to her walker while we were standing in the middle of the gangway. And all of a sudden I heard a crack. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? What's happening? And before I knew it, Miss Carlotta shot down in the river. It's just like she dove off a diving board. I could see her whole body and her walker go underwater. The first half of the gangway, that first section, the whole thing collapsed. I was at the split. That crack went straight across in front of my feet. So I felt like in slow motion. The part that I was on when we fell, it fell slow and it was going down. Once I hit the water, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Soon as I hit the water, it's like the currents were so rough and bad. The currents just instantly just picked me up. And I'm just floating down the river. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a river. And as I was floating down the river, I looked to my left and I saw my uncle. And I called out to him and I said, Uncle Bubba. I said, grab my hand. He grabbed my hand, but he also grabbed me right here. And he kept pulling me and pulling me and pulling me under the water. And I said to myself underwater, I said, oh my God, I'm getting ready to die.
She thought only God himself could save her now. It became a struggle as she and her uncle fight to survive. He was grabbing her and pulling her down.
And God spoke to me so clearly. And God said, no, you have to release your uncle. I'm underwater peeling finger by finger by finger off my shirt, having to release my uncle to just be able to surface back up to the top of the water. When I floated back up to the top, he floated by me, and then I was like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do for releasing my uncle? I felt so bad, like, why did I release my uncle? But at the time, that's what God told me to do, and that's the only thing I knew to do was to release him.
Decision made as she watched her uncle get carried away by the strong current.
And then I said, okay, God, I release my uncle now. I still have to get to land. Land was not close to me at all. And I can't swim. But I knew enough to possibly save my life, and that's what I did. I knew that, number one, keep my head above water, try to stay calm and don't burn up my energy. And number two, just doggy paddle. And that's what I did. And when I made it to the edge, I just collapsed. I was mentally, emotionally, physically just drained, just laying on the sand, face down.
All the while, her own mother, Miss Katrina, who made it across and wondered about the commotion behind her.
We just heard screaming. People were just hollering. And when I turned around, I was just, what am I seeing? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like I was in shock for a second. I stood there. I saw the people clinging to the deck, trying to hold on and crying and screaming. And finally it dawned on me, where's Regina? Where's Regina? And I kept looking to see if she would wave at me from afar, over on the other side of the deck, the other deck on the other side. And we didn't see Regina, and we kept looking and looking. No Regina. And I said, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. Please, please, God. I pleaded with him for about 2 hours. Save Regina, save Regina.
My Lord.
And then he spoke to me and he said, what about your brother? Just like that, out of the day. He said, what about your brother? What about Colada? I said, oh my God, please forgive me. Please, please forgive me. I forgot about them. Please forgive me, Lord. Please save them all. Save everybody. Please. He'll speak to you if you listen. And he spoke to me because at a moment I could only think about my child. He was my brother and I loved him dearly. And I loved Kalala dearly, but the first thing came was she was a part of me. And for 2 hours, I stood crying, weeping. Please, God, please, please save Regina, Isaiah, and all the rest. Please save them all, Lord.
God's will be done. He saved her daughter. The Lord did not save her brother or Miss Carlotta, who was 93. They were among the 7 dead.
So this has not been easy for me or any of my family members whatsoever. So I just ask for continued prayer to get us through this on a daily basis. God is my source and has given me strength, Lord, to make it day by day. And I am so ever thankful for him to give me a second chance in life. I am so thankful.
Amen. Thank you, Regina. And I want to say again publicly, Regina, what we continue to say privately to you. It was not your fault for your uncle's death. It was the people who cut corners and building the gangway dock collapse. You never should have been put in that position to have to try to save your uncle and save your life. It is not your fault, dear. I want you to know that. We can't say that enough. It is not your fault for your uncle or Miss Carlotta, who I know is like a family member also.
Yes.
This wasn't supposed to happen on this day, and of all places on earth, this place, during the Georgia celebration of historic, iconic Sapelo Island.
I'd like to start this by saying that our family members of Sapelo Island, as the descendants of the enslaved of Thomas Spalding, send our sincere condolences, heartfelt regrets on what has happened in this tragedy on October 19th. It's changed all of our lives. My family members are still going to those same shores on a daily basis, seeing what happened on October 19th still to this morning.
Reginald Hall, a Sapelo Island descendant and passionate about keeping the culture alive, always questioned the safety of the gangway bridges at the docks.
We know that we've been fighting for our survival on Sapelo Island. Mm-hmm. We mentioned this in 2009 as to the dangers of these docks and these gangways. Through our federal lawsuit in 2022, these docks were rebuilt, but were engineered, as Attorney Goodman said, improperly.
Crump Associate Attorney Jeff Goodman says that's the bottom line. Those gangways were not able to carry the weight.
This tragedy was not just preventable, it was inevitable. It wasn't a matter of if this gangway would collapse, it was a matter of when this gangway would collapse. And the failures happened at the design level, at the engineering level, and at the construction level. And that is why the lawsuit that has been filed seeks to hold those design, engineering, and construction professionals accountable for this senseless and unnecessary loss of life.
You have to understand that on this day we had 700 plus people on this island. Of these 700 plus people, they were in our chain of command as the descendants of the enslaved of this island. 236 years is our culture on this island. All of a sudden, we have now lost these elders as ancestors today. Yes, sir. And I do want to speak on one of the outcomes of this tragedy. Mm-hmm. Mr. William Johnson Jr. was 73 years old, the youngest of the victims. His family has since come back to the island, and with their help of Dr. Tanisha Talley, has decided to create what's known as a resilience hub.
Amen.
This is an emergency management response system that says not only can this never happen again, but more protections are put in place for our visitors of this island, of our people, so that our chain of command has no possibility of this happening to anyone visiting us.
In the tragedy, the stories of the human spirit, stories of heroes in the middle of chaos.
My mother cannot swim, but she is a God-fearing woman. And her prayer was in the middle of the ocean was, God save me.
Nathaniel Hicks spoke on behalf of his elderly mother, Joanne Ross. She survived, just broke her ankle badly, but she made it with the help of an angel.
There was another young lady who we call an angel. Her name is Erica Blocker LeCount. She also went down in the water, but when she got out, she's a younger lady. She made it her business to focus on my mother. And so she went back. She braved the sides of the water, and she was able to reach out and grab my mother and pull her in. My mother sustained an injury to her ankle where it was snapped in half. She's now walking, and we thank God for that. And I should probably more clearly say she's hobbling, but we're thankful for whatever God allows.
Officials are looking into how, why, and who is at fault for this human disaster at such a sacred place where enslaved Africans landed and descendants keep the hog hammock community intact, uplifting the legacy of the souls of those who came before. I'm Vanessa Tyler. Join me next time on Blackland. A new episode drops every week.